keep possession for a few more seconds, Germany, and the trophy will be theirs. Rauch down the line. Here's Diekman. Nigeria come forward. Is there to be one last chance for them? It's Ashuala looking to go all the way. Again, it's well defended, and it's another corner for the Germans to deal with. Ashuala just punches the ball out of the hands of Margarita Gideon, and we'll get a talking to from the referee, and he's just told to calm down. To the immense displeasure of the Nigerian fans inside the stadium. This is surely their last chance to take us into penalties at the climax of this tournament. Ashuala's corner. Germany come away with the ball. And hoof upfield is unceremonious, inaccurate, and lacking in inspiration for Nigeria. We have played 120 minutes of the final in Montreal, and surely Germany are not to be denied now. Maren Meinert is still making sure that there is no lapse in concentration. They are within touching distance. They have one hand on the trophy. They are united on the bench. They just cannot wait for Caroline Chenard's final whistle. Here's Teresa Panfil for the Germans. Tries to knock it long. That is it! Germany are champions! Maren Meinert has done it again! Lena Petermann has done it again with the winning goal! And Germany are the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup winners for the third time. Lena Petermann's extra time goal, proving the difference. Nigeria had all the momentum coming into the final, but Germany did what they do best. They were organised, resilient, dangerous on the counter, and Lena Petermann, the golden girl who got the winner against France, has done it again, and she can scarcely believe it. The trophy will be heading to Germany for the third time. Nigeria are despondent. Full time after extra time at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Nigeria 0, Germany 1. Germany are the champions.
CBC Studios, Annie Petrillo alongside Nigel Reid, Claire Rustad. Germany has been crowned the FIFA U20 Women's World Cup champions. Let's take you to some of the highlights, because really Nigeria, they were setting the tone in this game, but just couldn't capitalize.
This is the moment they should have won it. There's 5 minutes left in regulation. The ball is going in the net from Ihezu, and then Aila. Well, is the ball over the line or not? The assistant thinks it isn't. That's onside. That isn't. And the flag goes up. It's offside, and it's no goal for Nigeria. The complaints go on.
But they get another chance right after. And Oshwal is very unlucky here. Camper does a fabulous job just to get fingertips on it to deny the onrushing striker. So off to extra time we go.
And finally Bremer gets round the left back, and look, Petermann completely unmarked. There's nobody close to her. From 6 yards, she's not going to miss that golden opportunity to put the icing on the cake for the Germans in Montreal.
So the Nigerians may have dominated when we talk about regulation time, but in extra time, the Germans outshot the Nigerians 7-1. One of those resulting in a goal, and of course they now have won this tournament 3 times, tied with the USA. The only other country to win this was Korea DPR, so the Germans and the Americans have a stronghold on this. The Nigerians were hoping to add their name to it, but they came up short. And we talk about that offside goal. Do you think then the Nigerians, this was a mental game that they were playing with themselves?
Well, I don't know. I mean, only Aila will know what was going through her mind at that particular moment when the ball was going in the net. There was no question the ball, the momentum of the ball was taking it over the line. She has the final touch. If she thinks it's over the line and she's just smashing it in for a little bit of glory and they're all going to celebrate, then that's one thing. But the assistant on the far side had a perfectly good view. She decided that she touched it before the whole of the ball crossed the line. Then it's offside. Then the ball doesn't, the goal doesn't count. And it's a problem that is going to haunt her, I would think, probably for the rest of her career.
I think it's a completely immature move regardless. Regardless of whether you think the entire ball has crossed the line or not, it's a completely immature move because you're leaving that decision in the hands of the assistant referee and in the hands of the referee. I don't have a clue what was going through her head, but that lack of your own spatial awareness and whether you were onside or offside is completely inexplicable to me.
The one thing that we spoke about before the game was the Germans, although they got to the final and they have a very good record in this competition, was that defence secure, and could they master midfield, which they failed to do against France? And they didn't really answer those questions tonight, did they?
No, they didn't. And I think they were fortunate to get a big defensive lapse from the Nigerians and capitalize upon that. And that's one thing they have been able to do, is capitalize on defensive lapses like that. They did so against France. They did that again tonight against Nigeria. But you're right. Whether their defensive aspect is as strong as we would hope, I'm not really sure. Hey, when you have a keeper by the name of Kemper, I think they're doing all right. Well, let's send you now to the Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Carly Agra standing by. What is the scene like in Montreal?
Well, this is interesting, Andy, because moments ago I was inside the stadium, and it was the Nigerian fans who were loud and incredibly proud. And despite that goal was called back with 5 minutes left to go in regulation, it almost seemed as though the fans got louder and stronger and more present as the time ticked away. And even when the Nigerians fell behind in extra time, those Nigerian fans were displaying their green, they were banging on their drums, and they were singing and dancing throughout that 120 minutes of football that we just saw played. Now, Lena Peterman, for whatever reason, seems to enjoy playing here now. She has scored her third goal of the tournament, but in back-to-back games now at this Olympic Stadium, she has made her presence felt. And that third goal, probably the most important one so far of this tournament. And, you know, Rebecca Knack, despite the fact that she had to leave this match with an injury before this game, after their match against France, she spoke to me and said, you know what, our team is using the fact that the German men have won as motivation. And now Germany heads back home. This is, you know, they have their FIFA Men's World Cup title, they have their U19 UEFA title, and now they have this one. Now the U20 women are bringing home the hardware, so I'm sure the celebrations will continue long into this evening here in Montreal.
All right, no participating. You've got to get to bed. Coming back. All right, Carly, thank you so much in Montreal, taking in this game where Germany has been crowned the champions. And, well, Spain had a stronghold in the soccer world for so many years. We move over. It's now the Germans' time. And even the girls said, hey, what the men can do, we can do better. We want to win as well. So you look at what the men did at the World Cup, and you look at their other trophies as well. And this right now seems like the soccer gods are favoring the Germans. I'll give them credit. They've created an incredible system. But right now, they are the country to beat.
But these are the tournaments where international reputations are born. And these are young teenage players. They're trying to carry the baton on from their elders, those more experienced players, and create their own legacy going forward. There is, as we've said on a number of occasions throughout this tournament, a Senior Women's World Cup in Canada in less than a year's time. And there are some of these young players we've seen pick up gold who will be back and pushing those senior players in well under a year's time.
Yeah, I think we've seen some fabulous skill in this tournament. I think a lot of countries are looking excellent for next year. And we have to keep in mind that this is a youth tournament and that the discrepancy between the top teams in this tournament and the bottom teams in this tournament is going to be slightly wider because these teams and these players haven't had a chance to progress and a chance to develop even further like the senior teams have. So looking forward to 2015, we have a bigger tournament than previous. We have more teams added, and I think that the skill level is going to be fabulous, and we'll see, I think, a lot closer games and a lot more of the technique and the tactical awareness that we've seen in some of the better teams in this tournament. I think we're going to see a lot more of that in 2015. So we're working our way towards the trophy ceremony in Montreal, waiting for the teams to get together. They're going to obviously announce the winners of certain awards as well. Oshoala, probably some very small consolation that she will win the Golden Boot with her 7 goals. No doubt would rather be walking home with the gold medal wrapped around her neck. And we're going to take a look at Oshoala right now because this is a player who scored 4 goals in the semis. This is a player who still put up a good fight here today, but Kemper had her solved.
Well, tremendously agile and adventurous attacking midfielder. Had chances in this final as well. Just her radar was off, and sometimes when you can see the winning post, you're that close, sometimes it doesn't work. It's what a final does to some particular players, and that's really about holding your nerve and having the experience and the belief in your own ability to finish those chances in the big games.
And she did benefit a lot from the collapse, as we were talking about, of the Korea DPR in the semifinal, and also benefited from the fact they were playing the weakest quarterfinal team in New Zealand. She benefited a lot from that, and now she's up against an international power. Now she's up against Germany, where they're very disciplined in the back, and they aren't going to afford you as many chances as the teams that have these defensive collapses in big games.
But in all fairness, she did get chances. I have to keep going back to Kemper because we have to give credit where credit's due. This is a keeper who stood on her head.
Well, as Claire just said, I mean, the longer you go in any competition, the tougher, the steeper the hill becomes. And Germany have once again been crowned number one. Why? In no small measure to the performance of their goalkeeper, who has proved to me over the course of this tournament that she is as good as any goalkeeper there. She's athletic, she's very aware of the spatials around her, and she organises her defenders very well indeed. Any goalkeeper who has that command is going to give her a chance, a much better team, a better chance to win.
And not the most physically imposing goalkeeper either, but I think she's definitely in the running for the best goalkeeper of the tournament. I think it would be her versus maybe perhaps Kim Chol-ok from the North Korean side. But I think Kemper should come out on top, especially based on some of the saves she made today. I think she saved the game a number of times here against Nigeria.
Well, some awards already being handed out. Team Canada winning the Fair Play Award, and the All-Canadian official have won the Officials Award. So those are some of the awards that are being handed out right now. And Dobritz gets the bronze boot. There's Sarah Dobritz right now, heading on up to accept her award, 5 goals in this tournament.
Yeah, I was very impressed by a number of the German players going forwards. Of course, we talked about Bremer. Dobritz scored and was consistently good as a level of performance surrounding
spots that she can attack. She's playing. She played Petterman in several times for some excellent chances and goals. So she's one to watch for the future.
And there is Oshoala getting her golden boot with 7 goals in the tournament. Did create quite a few chances in this game as well. It really did boil down to her and Kemper, because she managed to get around the defense, but today, just not her day.
Yeah, you can only score against the teams you're playing against, and Claire rightly identified a little earlier that some of the goals she scored were kind of gimmies. But 7 goals in any tournament is not to be sniffed at.
It's definitely a feat to be appreciated. And I mean, yeah, North Korea did have a bit of a defensive collapse that allowed her to score probably more goals than she should have in that game. But the goals that she did score were very technically good, and she's had a number of chances today that she probably should have put away.
And the Golden Glove does go to Kemper of Germany.
And if for no other reason you give it to her for her performance, not necessarily tonight, but heroically in that semi-final against France, because without her, France would have been playing for gold. I have no question about that.
No, there's no surprise here. That her performance tonight, a couple of fingertip saves that really saved Germany on occasion, where they were beaten defensively and Oshoala was rushing in. The fingertip saves make a huge difference. It sounds like such a minor thing, but any body part you can get on the ball, and any deflection where you can change the course of the ball and throw a forward off is a huge deal. So she's very deserving of this Golden Glove.
And this is the first time we're seeing her smile as well. Showing any emotion was right after the game, no doubt, being crowned champion. But that is how cool, calm, and collected she's been throughout this entire tournament. And now they're handing out the Golden Ball Awards, and from France, looks like Lavogez picking up the bronze Golden Ball.
Yeah, like Lavogez a lot during this tournament. She'll have been very disappointed, as all the French team would have been, that they didn't get to play in the showpiece and play for the gold medal. But Lavogez has been around for a little while and justified that reputation, I think, in this tournament.
I think she has some of the best foot skill in this tournament by far. She was also one of the smartest players in this tournament as well. I mean, you can look at a lot of the players in this match today. Oshoala, one of them, very fast, very great shot, or a great shot, but Lavogez had the foot skill and the soccer intellect to be able to make the most of every time she had the ball. great passes through to some of the other strikers who she was playing with. I think she's very deserving today.
Yeah, we saw some great footwork there in that bronze medal match against Korea DPR, where France walking away with the bronze medal, and now Lavoisier getting a chance to walk away with a little bit more hardware. And it's a teammate again of hers, Mbak Bati, looks like he's picking up the silver golden ball.
Well, Mbak